Hey everybody, this is Johnny Dim. Alright, we're just doing a quick video. There was just some news that I stumbled across today. By the way, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing a yellow shirt. It's because I'm about to go work out, and this is a nice shirt to work out in. It's a King Gladiator shirt. Anyway, so news broke today and yesterday about the DC Extended Universe, or whatever they're calling it. So a few things going on. Like in the last few months, I don't know if you've noticed, or a couple months, Zach Snyder's version of Justice League keeps getting talked about. He keeps talking about different stuff that he did, and he keeps leaking these images from behind the scenes stuff, and it's just been a lot that they've been talking about. And now the rumor is that there might be, because they talked about the Zack Snyder cut. That's what they keep talking about, right? Well, the rumor is that they may be announcing the Zack Snyder cut to they might be announcing it at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming up soon. I wouldn't be super surprised if that was the case. Actually, I've been wanting to see it. I'm one of the few people who actually liked Batman vs. Superman. I still don't understand why so many people hate it so much. Oh well. Okay, so there's that. They might be announcing that. There's some people that were associated with the production. We got some... what were they talking? Oh, they were talking about all the turmoil that was going on while Zack Snyder was still there. Apparently, there was a lot of disagreements between him and Geoff Johns, I believe, was this guy's name. He's the guy who was the creative director. Yeah, Geoff Johns. The quote. One of the things. Okay, here it is. This is from Kyle Buchanan. And Buchanan, what was his role? I don't remember, but he was on set. And he tweeted out these things. It says, one of them says, "I remember hearing that Geoff Johns rewrote so much of Justice League when Zack Snyder was still directing that Chris Terrario would complain. Maybe try using some of my pages." So I'm assuming Chris was one of the original screen adapters. He wrote the screenplay, maybe. And he would complain that they're not using his original pages because there's so many rewrites. And Geoff Johns, who I think is the head, he was head of the or I said was. I'll tell you why why I said that in a second. But at the time, he was definitely the creative director, or he was the head of the whole DC movie franchises and all that. So the other tweet from Kyle Buchanan says, WB was allegedly so unsatisfied with how the Johns/Snyder version was shaping up that they convened a footage summit for other writers, including Joss Whedon, Alan Heinberg, Seth Graham-Smith, and Andrea Berloff to offer feedback. Then they hired Whedon not long after that. So, yeah. So there's just a lot of different rumors coming out about the Justice League, and I guess people are trying to, make sure the blame isn't on them because the movie didn't do very well, and all this other stuff is going on in the background. The other thing that happened, another news that broke, was actually that Matt. I always forget his last name. Where is he? Where is he? Matt Reeves. And I looked him up. He actually directed two of the recent Planet of the Apes movies, the ones that were actually really good, and some other stuff. He doesn't have a whole lot of stuff under his belt as far as directing goes. But Matt Reeves would actually really like to do the Batman standalone film without Ben Affleck, is what the rumors say on that. So, and if you haven't been following that, he has been Ben Affleck has been in and out. He keeps going back and forth on whether he's actually going to be in the solo, the standalone Batman film, which is just nuts. I mean, I thought he was a great Batman. There's a lot of people who are with me on that one. He wasn't terrible at all. I mean, and I'm not saying like, oh, well, he wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't remember watching the stuff with him in it and thinking that it was bad on any level. I thought it was solid. But that's where we're at with that. Now, what I was talking about with Geoff Johns is that Geoff Johns is actually stepping down as DC Entertainment President and CCO. He's pursuing some other stuff in directing and writing, I think is what this article said. So that's what kind of triggered the Matt Reeves thing, because now with the completely new, this big shakeup that's going on over there at the DC and Warner Brothers and all that, there's an opportunity for Matt Reeves to get in there and try to get something happening. And I don't think that's a bad idea. To try to, it's a perfect opportunity to get in there and get your voice heard. And if you have an idea of something you want to do, now is the time to pitch it. Because there's definitely, it's an interesting direction they might. I mean, the rumors that we're talking about, after Justice League came out, was that since Wonder Woman, and I think the Flash and Aquaman, since those characters are fan favorites right now, that they're gonna lean hard into Aquaman and Wonder Woman going forward, because those movies are coming out whether we like it or not. The Batman movie hasn't even started production yet, so it's going to be interesting. I'm following it pretty closely because I like DC. I think that the stuff they've been doing, although different, and a lot of people don't like it, I think it was a bold choice to go with Zach Snyder and go with his vision of what things were, and I was enjoying it. I think that they continued that way. Eventually people would realize that although it's very different, it's not what you imagined, and yeah, it's they're kind of behind the eight ball because Marvel's so far ahead, and you can't compare the two because they're completely different entities. They're doing completely different things. DC, one of the smart things that they were doing, at least I thought, was doing something completely different than Marvel. I think they knew that they didn't have a choice, that the fans were gonna compare those two like those apples to apples, which is not. Those two universes are completely different. But that's I don't know. So it was a lose situation, I think, for DC. I think that they didn't have the convenience of time. The time was definitely not on their side because they couldn't catch up with Marvel and build a universe like Marvel had created. I think their one misstep was that they tried to catch up too fast. I think that they could have taken their time with the titles and really thought about what they were doing. And I think they could have done that with Zack Snyder. I think they could have really actually done that. Justice League could have been a lot better. It was still a fun movie. I still enjoyed it, but definitely I think it definitely could have had something, like it felt a little empty at the end. I think when people were talking about the ending of that movie, yeah, it could have used a lot more. We could have cared what was going on. They could have made it look like Superman was actually having a hard time defeating whatever is Steppenwolf or whatever. But they're shaking things up over there. I'm hoping they get get back on track, make something happen. Wonder Woman 2, I know that's going to be another good hit. I'm assuming, because Wonder Woman's definitely a fan favorite right now. And if they have to take a break from Superman and Batman for a little while, that's fine too. If it helps them get their shit together, they can take a break on those major characters, and they can do even a hard reboot if they need to. I don't think that's necessary, but they may need to take some time. I think if they dive, maybe give it 3-4 more movies, and then maybe dive into the multiverse, and then we can actually, if you want to reboot it, then it's an easy excuse. You're on a different Earth or whatever, with a different Batman, and you can reboot it that way. I don't think that's a bad idea. That's the comic book fans have been used to that stuff for a while with Marvel and DC. But anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. I thought this news was worth sharing and getting a reaction on. Go over to the rest of the Quite Contrary stuff. We actually have a Rise of the Robots, and then I am actually editing right now. Here's an inside scoop. I'm editing our The Room QC video. And if you don't know what QC means, of course, it's Quite Contrary. But what that means, giving something like the QC treatment, is actually going in and doing the opposite, of course, which is what this channel is all about. Not everybody, this might be your first video on this channel. But we do the opposite of what people generally think of something. So there's some movies that are so close, they're on the line, that we do a negative and a positive. We only did that once or twice. But with The Room, it was tricky, especially that one and Rise of the Robots. And Rise of the Robots is you may not have heard that one. That's actually done here. It's an independent film, super low budget, like 50s sci-fi camp. You know, it's really an interesting movie. But with that one and The Room, they're bad movies traditionally, but with one is intentional, one is not between those two movies. But they're bad movies almost intentionally. One of them not intentional, but it has a cult following and now is viewed as a good movie. So the dynamic is kind of weird. So what we've done is we don't think we can actually go in there and just tear it apart, because that's just not. That would be fun for nobody. So we actually get a really good video. I thought it's ridiculous. Our video on The Room. I'm gonna dive in here and actually get it edited. Sorry, I'm rambling again. Thanks for stopping by, though. You guys are great. Go. We are a fan-funded channel, and we're part of the Warlocks Entertainment System Network, and there will be a link in the description and probably an end card or something here for our Patreon page. So go check that out. There's actually a lot of cool perks, and you guys can get in there and you can tell us and vote on what you want out of the channel. We'll give you guys options. We'll say, hey, we got this movie, this movie, this movie. We're thinking about doing a QC on. Vote on your favorite, and then we'll give you guys the voice to do that. And we don't ask a lot of money. We're not looking for a lot of money right now. We just want to fund this QC project and this Warlocks Entertainment System project. So thanks again. Thanks a lot. You guys are great. And thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. I'll check you guys next time. All right. Later.